What's up and welcome back to Cleats to Whistle podcast. I am Brad Valdez and I'm here back at Dawes High School with the head coach Paul Mandeville and the offensive coordinator CJ Ewing. Hey, appreciate you guys for coming back on. This is just basically a review, man, a season review for you guys. We were talking off camera. It was just 0-5 start.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough, but the kids stayed tight. Like, they stayed tight. They didn't listen to all the negative noise that was going on in the school building. We still pushed them hard in practice. Like, we didn't let up at all. Because we tell them at the end of the day, the record doesn't really matter, especially going into, like, district play. So, like, and it doesn't define who you actually are. So the kids stay. I mean, we were closer as a team at 0-5 than we were at 0-1. So it's good.
Yeah, that's what's up. And with you, you know what I mean, coming in, well, both you guys, this is basically your first season here, and you coming in being an OC, you know, how was that? How were they absorbing your offense, man?
Yeah, you know, actually, I think they did a better job than I expected or could have asked for. It's definitely something that I kind of measured a little bit because of my time at Moore working as a JV coach, you know, trying to put in, you know, a couple different things here than what we did in varsity to see how it worked out, to see how they, you know, accepted those, like, you know, on a moment's notice adjustments to something we typically do. And coming in here, I wouldn't say it was easier, but they definitely made it more easy for me to, like, you know, get a little free with the playbook, change things up. They did a good job. I mean, through that 0-5 start, we kind of bounced around and showed a few different things that we wanted to find something that was like a glue and that sticked. And, you know, they stuck with us and were accepting of all the adjustments that we made. And, you know, when we found what worked, it was easier to build off of.
There we go, man. And like I say, man, I'm just happy to be back, man. I'm you know what I mean. I'm glad you opened the door, you know, for me. But it's just it's crazy because you know what I mean. I've been here I was here 2 seasons, or no, I was actually here 4 seasons. But it was off and on just because of COVID and all the issues, man. But you know, when we talked about culture change. How did they like take that initially?
Well, like, it's an ugly process. Like, I mean, like, everyone likes sausage, but no one wants to see how it's made. You know, it's not a pretty process. You literally got to take things day by day, and we were getting better. The scoreboard wasn't showing it, but we were practicing better. We were lifting better. We're doing everything better, but the scoreboard wasn't showing it. So it was a test, and I was telling the coaches, I was like, you can find out who someone really is during these moments. If we were 5-0, it would have been harder to find out who people really are. So I want to know, player and coach, who you really are. And 0-5 start in a city like Louisville, where people are going to run their mouth about you, honestly, you got to see who kids. And we had a lot of guys quit, you know, but I don't really care.
Yeah. Well, and that's crazy because, you know, I mean, we talked too. You know what I mean? You guys, they're both on the podcast. If you have not watched their episodes, go watch them, man. Really good stuff, man. And I will link them somewhere up above or down below or whatever. Just make sure you go and watch their episodes. We get more in depth and you know what I mean. With you guys being a new staff and you guys just came together, right? Now, how was your guys' relationship? You know what I mean? That's the thing that you guys got to gel is the relationship between head coach and assistant.
No, it was good. Like, I've known CJ since 2021, and when we met, it was kind of like I'd already known him. We had related to similar things, talked about football, college football, things outside of football. So, and I could tell he really cared about the kids. So some guys are in here for like an ego boost, not here, but in coaching for like an ego boost. But he actually cared for the kids. He was just young, and when you're a young coach, you have to you just figure it out. I've watched him figure it out over those 2 years. So when I got this job, it was pretty easy to get him to come here.
There you go.
Yeah, it was something I took notes from him on the first day that we were on the same staff over at Moore. I say he was the first coach who presented like a challenge, if you will, to me. And, it was just something he said the first day, introducing himself to the kids. And like you said, you know, he made the comment, like, he could tell I really care about the kids because, you know, when you're a young coach, I was so excited to be in the moment. Like, yeah, I care for these kids and everything. And, he was introducing himself to the team and said something like, I understand Coach CJ's like the nice guy. He's like your friends. He really, wants to see y'all. Y'all can talk to him anytime and you can say anything to him. That's not really like me. I'm not like that. He set a tone of kind of discipline, but he kind of called me out or whatever the first day, and I felt that, and I was like, yeah, he's showing me the ways, and a little bit from that point on, I started to kind of pay a little bit more attention to what was being said and picking up on things. I won't forget that start. That was
with you being a young coach, you have to build that relationship because you know what I mean. You're closer to age. You know what I mean. Some coaches are young coaches are like, I want to be your friend along with your coach. You know what I mean? But, there's some people that, you got to cut that off, especially with you being an offensive coordinator.
Yeah. Can't be playing no favorites or nothing like that, so it's a loose term to say strictly business relationship between everybody, because there are some parts of the relationship that's not business-like. It's a fun camaraderie thing, but ultimately the goal is to see you grow. So you got to treat everybody with the same mentality.
Yeah, there you go. And let's go into your season, man. Let's talk about the good that you know what I mean, that happened during the season.
Like the good is that we got to see a lot of young players play. We only had 8 seniors, so we played a lot of young players. Our 2 leading rushers will be back next season, and the look on the kids' faces after that first win, I'll probably never forget that, because we still, like, even that week, we pushed them and pushed them and pushed them. And I wasn't interested in, like, the record. I was interested in everyone just getting better. And one of the things I will say when he first came here, so when CJ was at Moore, the coach called him Coach CJ, or the players called him Coach CJ. And I told him they're going to call you Coach Ewing here, because he has a higher, I guess, job status here. And just in my mind, I never called a coach, like, coach first name. I would never do that. So here they never call him that. So they called him Coach Ewing from – some of them can't spell it, but
they can't spell you.
I'm not joking.
That's not a joke.
Yeah. But no, man. Like, and I was coaching the coaches. I coached him. I'll get on him. Get on some of the coaches. Like when I felt need, because my name's on this. No one else's name is on this. So when we lose, it's on me. When we win, it's on everyone else but me. And I signed up for that. So
yeah,
like
exactly.
You said, that win though, like seeing their faces, that was like, of all my years of playing, I've never seen the players kind of party like that. Like, that win meant so much to them, I guess, from the 0-5 start, coming together. And like you said, we lost people along the way. A lot of players didn't, wasn't cut out for them to stick around. So they really came together. And I won't forget that either, that trying to just get into the locker room with the kids, partying and going crazy. It was a zoo.
But us losing people was more of an addition by subtraction thing. Like, I'm not going to get too emotionally caught up in people not wanting to be here. It's new to these kids anyway, and we had to set the foundation for going forward, because this is going to be a big house one day. So the foundation that's got to be strong.
Yep. And what was your good for the season?
I think my good, not to like circle back to the beginning or anything like that, but just the players being able to like grasp what I was trying to do, because that really helps build the confidence into like me trying to figure out as a young coordinator what's going to work, what's not going to work around here, and how can I teach it appropriately. It's kind of like certain payouts you get from the job that I look at, like how are they accepting the information that I'm giving them, and then watching them perform it on the field. Like, you can really tell how good of a job I'm doing as a coach is kind of reflective on how they're willing to grasp what you're teaching and how well they actually grasp what you're teaching. So over the course of the year, watching them accept, and we just got better and better at it. There was a week I wasn't there, and Mandeville stepped in to call the plays for the offense, and watching them being able to run it. It's not me calling it, but they still enjoy it and stuff like that. That was, to me, that was the good of my season, was watching them embrace the offense that was being put out there.
Yeah, and I came in and I did player profiles, and the strange thing is you know what I mean, and this is my good that I've seen. I heard nothing but good from other coaches, and when I talked to the kids on their player profiles, I heard nothing but good You know what I mean? And that's how you know that you have like a solid a culture. You know what I mean? You have a solid head coach, and they're learning a different way.
Oh yeah.
And they understood it, and that's your point. You know what I mean? That they were comprehending what you were telling them.
Yeah, it's rewarding.
And that's and that was my good for you guys, because it was 9-day change.
Because the way I view like culture is the way we do stuff versus the way someone else does stuff. So in terms of, are our players late to class or their players like coming late to class? Are our players wearing hoodies in the school or their players wearing hoodies in school? Do our players come late to practice? So that all that stuff adds up, because you win football games every day but Friday. You lose games on Friday. Games are lost, not won on Friday. They're won in the off season, Monday through Thursday. That's when games are won. So we're trying to teach them that part, because they think they can just hit a switch and just go, and you can't do that. Like even the kids, I coached 5 stars in Florida that practiced really hard on Tuesdays. You know what I'm saying? Like they took it very seriously on Tuesdays, and we're trying to get that here.
Right. And I'm not around for the bad. You know what I mean? I see the good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I hear the good. I hear the positives. You know what I mean? I don't see the bad. You know what I mean? But what was some of the bad that you know what I mean, you had to deal with?
Man, it's tough to like find something and say that was bad, because I'd like to believe that most of our like lowest moments or bad moments that we experience actually came out to be something positive. It might just be the optimism inside me, but most things that were bad had some kind of positive reaction. I would say the toughest thing to deal with was probably the numbers and the lack of availability from everybody. I don't think we had anything too serious until Jeremiah's shoulder injury at DeSales. That was tough to deal with, but we did have a lot of like mild injuries here and there, and trying to get a cohesive, like the whole thing with the whole team is you try to get them to come together, and you know, when one piece is missing this week and one piece is missing next week, it's hard to find a glue and come in together. So that struggling with somebody being out one week to the next, or somebody not making practice all week, that's, you know, those were some of the bad moments, the challenges that we had to face.
And for me, some of the hardest part is having to get rid of somebody, because you know, especially here, these kids need football. But at the end of the day, it's my football program. I tell them this is your team, it's my program. So I get to decide who stays and who doesn't stay. But like, you give kids chances, and then you're just like, hey man, I can't let the other team or the rest of the team see me give you favors like this, and then they're gonna get loose, and then now it's all out of control. So I mean, it was about 16, 17 kids that, you know, and some of them could have helped, but I'm not in this for slimy wins. I'm trying to win like the proper way. So if a kid is going to get in trouble over and over again, he's not going to be a part of the program. And like I've told you, it's not personal. It's just I'm not going to allow them to think that like the world doesn't work like that. So it's not going to be that way here either.
Yeah, and a lot of it is like, you know, accountability. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's going to be accountability, showing up to practice. If you don't show up to practice, you're not, you know what I mean, you're going to get a quarter taken. Right. Or, you know what I mean, you miss 2 practices, you're going to get 2 quarters. You know, and the kids don't, for some reason, don't understand that. And you got to have, and it always goes back to the head coach, the assistant coaches, understanding that and setting that standard. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's why I always say, if you have a solid, you know, staff, it's gonna hold weight.
I was telling a kid today, a freshman today in the hallway, big freshman who was a part of the team last year. He actually got hurt, but I said, listen, here's how this is gonna work. I go, we want you to play here, but we don't need you. We don't need you. You need us more than we need you. And I said, this is probably the first time you've ever heard that. He goes, it is. Because a lot of his little league coaches wanted to win so bad that they almost warped his brain into thinking that he's more important than the entire unit, and that will never be the case here ever. So.
Yeah, they don't understand. It's we, not me. You know what I mean? You can throw all the cliches. You know what I mean? But I'm just gonna jump to you real quick, man. With you with you learning under coach, you know what I mean? Does that give you confidence to maybe step up and try to be a head coach one day?
Yeah, I think ultimately I do still look at that as a goal I'd like one day. I plan on riding it out here, Doss, taking a look at like a revision of my life when I hit 30 years old and then really testing it out. Like is head coaching something I want to do, or maybe I want to jump up and see if I can coach some college ball or something like that. But we're a little bit of ways from that. As far as the confidence goes from under him, I don't think there's a better situation for me. I love the personality that he's got and that he cares, that he puts forward, both individually, personally and professionally. If anybody out there, if you're following his social media handles, he posts a lot of stuff that can be hard to hear to some people. And, sometimes I think just recently there was something about like sometimes you gotta move on from certain people in your life and something like that. And every time I see something like that, part of me has to feel like, man, is that a shout out to me? Is that a shot at me? So like I'm constantly like trying my best to, being reminded that I need to be on top of my game and really, be putting the best foot forward at this. And so yeah, I love the fact that he's my head coach, and it's definitely confidence and learning under him is sky high.
Yeah, and it's just building your confidence. And you know what I mean? And coach, that's what a head coach is about, man.
Man, I had to tell him, like, the first half of the season, he was so down on himself. Like, I had to, like, at some point I was screaming at him, this is not your fault. Like, this is not on you. This is not your fault. We didn't have spring practice, man. We had bad summer attendance. I said, you come here every day and I'm not going to repeat what I said, but you work your tail off. The kids, you can't do it for them. So, I mean, he was down on himself. He was down. I said, this is not your fault. This is my fault. So everything that happens bad is on me. It's on no one else. Like it's hard to accept that sometimes, especially when you've never been in that boat before. But once you figure that out, I feel like it's almost like telling someone, like, I'm not going to take you out the game. You got to figure it out. He figured it out. So, I mean, you saw we changed to the 2-back set. And that was our bread and butter for the rest of the season. So,
yep,
and that was his idea. It wasn't my idea.
Yeah, and now let's get into that. Let's get into the ugly part, man. What you got to do. You know what I mean? Like you've already basically said it, man. Having to tell these kids, hey, this team might not be for you. And is that the ugly to that?
That's the ugly, because in my past I've had kids who have died. And football could have possibly saved their life. Kids who've gotten locked up, and football could have saved their life. But like, in the day, it's not on me. And I feel like if I can do all I can, I'm not gonna just one strike and you're out a kid. But we get to 3 or 4 strikes, man. Then So the ugly part is knowing that them not having football is gonna alter their life in a negative manner. That's the ugly part. But there wouldn't be anything pretty without things being ugly.
Yeah, man, and you know what I mean. And like we always say it, coaches always say it. You know what I mean. Football is going to teach you life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. And that's the ugly reality of football. You're going to learn life when you're young, but you don't understand that you're learning life.
And our players are going to watch this. A lot of them are going to be like, "Yep, that's what we hear all the time." And I think some of the seniors are going to watch it and be like, "Man, I maybe should have operated a little differently." And I begged them to, but we didn't have enough time to get them to that point of understanding. I had to throw a senior off the team the day of the playoff game. Yeah, so the same kid got in trouble today in school. So I'm not wrong when I guess judge people. I do it with such lack of feeling that I don't like to be wrong, especially these are someone else's kids. It's not mine. So you can't lie to them. And some of them have been lied to, and we're not going to do that. So,
I love it, man. I love it. And do you have just the ugly side, or basically just take coach and just agree with it?
No, I definitely agree with what he's saying. The ugly part for me personally would definitely be that early on portion, but you got to go through something like that to do better. And going through all that, I did kind of put a lot of blame on myself when there were some things out of my control. That part was ugly. Watching 10 turnovers in a game, being the offensive coordinator, that was ugly. But I would say our team ugliness is still eliminating that outside noise. Everything outside of this locker room and outside of that football field, making an impact onto that field, into this locker room. That's the part that is ugly, and not everybody sees, when you're a football Friday night coach and you show up to the games and you got stuff to say, like, you don't see how these kids and sometimes even, the staff is letting some outside things come into this barrier, and it's making its way into this football world. So that part, that's the ugly, I think, for me from this season.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is that's why I always talk, you know what I mean, staff. You know what I mean? Because, some guys could not be all in.
Oh, yeah.
And it could, like what Saban says, is rat poison. You know what I mean? And that's why I love when I come in here and I talk to you guys and I feel like you guys, you guys care about each other.
Oh, yeah.
And staffs, man, they got to have that. You have to have that love.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Because, we have – and even the players say, like we have a chance to be, like, really good. And to be honest with you, we had a few teams, like, run the score up on us this past season, and I don't forget that. It's been noted. I don't have to say, like, they know who they are. So my motivation levels are very high. So are his. Harlow, the guy who was in here earlier, he's calling the defense next year. So our motivation for this revenge tour is very real. And we're going to give them this time. We're going to start in January, but there's a couple coaches that, and it doesn't affect me, but to do my kids like that when people know the circumstances of our program and you're going to try to score 50 points, and we had guys run fake punts up 35 points, that's all been noted. So just, yeah.
There we go, man. And this is, I got a couple more questions, man. You got into when you're going to start preparing for next season. So you're going to be in here in January. Oh, you're going to be hitting it hard?
Hard. It's going to be Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, because that Wednesday in the middle of the week, that rest day is maximizes your rest. I don't really like having Fridays off because we play on Fridays. So I like to see who's willing to show up on Friday. Like that goes a long way. When I was at Mel, we did it, that way. So, yeah, we're gonna hit it hard. We're gonna have a lift-a-thon in April, so that'll be a big fundraiser for us. And yeah, so the weight room's gonna change the whole football program.
And it's funny because I like if you're not a high school coach and you don't understand the hours that these guys put in, man, it's unbelievable. I've been part of staffs where we come in January. Most of the staffs were coming in February. Yeah. You know what I mean? But just last weekend, state championship just happened, man, and you guys are already game planning. So it's a 24/7, 365, and for here in Kentucky, I gotta say, we don't do it for the money, man. No. It's the love of this game. This is why these gentlemen are here. Man, and it's just kudos to you guys.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? And this is where it is. This is where I'm trying to give back to you guys. You know what I mean? To get your program out there, man. You know what I mean? Promote your program, man. If you got fundraisers, if you got anything going on, man, this is what it's about.
Yeah. So the main fundraiser we're doing in the off season will be the lift-a-thon. We could possibly make a lot of money. I'm not gonna say how much, but we could make a whole lot. We do T-shirt sales, and we're doing a first down club. So first down's 10 yards. You can donate $10. That can add up, So we would like to get cards made, but that's got to work that part out. But we would like to fundraise for the kids, for them to have nice stuff, for them to enjoy this experience. And for some of these kids, like the weight room and fundraising could be a college scholarship for them. And so the margin of error is so small for them that those little things really matter. So, and they've never done it before.
Right. And I will, if you can, whenever you get anything, send it to me. I'll put it on Twitter. I'll promote whatever you guys need, man. I'm here. This is why I started this podcast.
Appreciate it.
Is for you guys, man, to build, you know what I mean? You need weights.
Gotta have it.
Yeah, you need stuff. You know what I mean? You need stuff here. I've been, like I said, I've been in this weight room, and it's not up to par.
It's got some old stuff in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Old school stuff.
Yeah. So this is what this podcast is to get this out, man. I will put both their Twitters or X or whatever you want to call it, man. I will put it in the description just for you guys to reach out. And help these guys out.
Thank you.
The last question though is, what did you learn about yourself this season?
That's a really good question. It's tough to say, but like I guess I learned that I am more patient than I thought I was, and I really, it kind of goes back, and like I hate going back and to previous things said, but it really does come back to those first 5 weeks being as ugly as they were, and you feel impatient because you're making these changes and you're trying to do things differently. So and I feel like an impatient person. Like if something's broken, I want to fix it. If the toilet's not flushing, we're gonna fix it today. But it takes time, and here I think the biggest lesson inside of that is hearing something that I've heard from this man for a few years now really come into settle is that you spell love Time, right? Mm-hmm. It's about the time that you put in, and so Rome wasn't built in a day, and all that stuff. Like, I feel impatient about it in the moment, but when you take that time to reflect, like it took time to get where we were, and it's going to take time to get where we're trying to get to. That was what I learned about myself.
There you go. And Coach, hey, end it, man, right here, because listen, man, you're the head man, and that's what I said. It's so frustrating because you got to deal with so much, man. So just to throw that question at you, I know there's probably 1,000 things going through your head.
Yeah, well, kind of just pick off him being like patient. The patience. You get to coach football last. I have to do all these other things before actually coaching football, which I don't mind that part. It was quite the adjustment, like getting pulled in all these different directions, and you have to be the best version of yourself. You can't ever slack that. So I setting the standard, so I have to be the standard every day, which I don't mind that, but there's no days off from that. So you have to be the example every day, showing these kids how to like respect women, which we make that a very big part of our football program. Like, I'm so friendly with the ladies in the office, the female staff. That's important for them like to see that. So to have to know that all eyes are on me with the choices I make, people I talk to, the whole nine, how I interact with parents. It's a lot, but it's everything I've ever wanted. So it's not a bad thing for me. It was just new. So it was just new.
So it's just new. Your word is everything was new.
Yeah, it's just tough, like having to like explain yourself in time when you feel like you shouldn't have to explain yourself. Because my father didn't explain much to me. It was just because I said so. But it might be a little bit more that way next season. But this season, I just wanted to, I guess, get my feet wet. But I really feel like I found out that I'm more patient of a person and more understanding, because you get to hear all these reasons why guys miss practice. So, and to me, if a kid has to babysit their brother, I'm not going to say, well, you're not playing. That makes no sense. So being very understanding of just the human element of life and how things change. And unfortunately, we have a lot of single-parent homes, so you don't get as much help with them getting here or them getting home. But just being understanding of these kids have a lot of stuff going on. So I don't want them to think that they can't come to me with any of it. They can come to me, and they do. Like, I've had some very uncomfortable talks with some of them, like tears down the face talks. But that's just part of it. That's what I signed up for. So.
There you go, man. I say, man, I appreciate you guys, man. This is just a season review for you guys, man. You guys got it out. Hey, now move on. 2024.
Yeah, you ought to come watch a workout in February. You ought to come watch a workout in February.
Definitely.
You probably have the best strength coach around here. So come.
Guaranteed.
Come watch a workout in February.
Definitely. We'll have to get up here. And maybe we'll throw some kids on here, man, and get some player profiles going, man.
I would love for you to get Harlow on here. He's like a cartoon character.
So shout out Harlow. Hey, we're going to get you on here, man. I'm very excited.
He can't say no this time. He's not allowed to say no.
And do it in the middle of the workout too. You know what I'm saying? Like, come up to him and start setting up a desk while he's trying to lead a workout. It would be awesome. It'd be great TV.
Great content, man. That's what we're here, man. But yeah, man, like I said, I appreciate you. We are here at Doss High School. Paul Mandeville, the head coach, Coach CJ Ewing for for the offensive coordinator, man. You're doing good things, man. Just you know what I mean. You're a young coach. You're grinding, man, and that's what it is. You're gonna have that self-doubt, man. But then you got this. Why you got this guy right here leaning on, man.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Good stuff, man. I appreciate you guys. This is Cleats to Whistle podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment, do all that stuff. But make sure if you can do anything for Dawes High School and for their football program, do it. I will put all their contact info in the description below. And let's just get this rolling for these guys, man. I appreciate you guys. Like I always say, everyone has a story. I'm here for them to tell it. Cleats to Whistle podcast.